Everybody, tack för sist. Välkommen tillbaka. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. If you subscribe, thank you for subscribing. Even if you're just kind of passing through, that's all cool. Whatever works for you. So I literally just got done working and I still got paint all over me. But I thought I'm going to do a video now because by the time I shower and eat something, I'm just completely exhausted. And I just feel like I don't have a ton of energy. And I don't want to come across as like not caring about doing these videos. I care a lot about these videos. I have a lot of fun doing them. I like the interaction. So hopefully today's video is something that interests some of you. And it's kind of dealing with religion, but not in the way that I've been doing it in the past. So I'm from Norway. Like, I'm literally from Norway. I lived there several years. I speak the language. And in the last, maybe 20, 25 years, I've really started getting into my Viking ancestry and the heritage. And I'm well aware that the Vikings did some bad stuff too. So did every group of people that have ever lived on the planet. There's been bad things happening through the history of the world. The Vikings also had some really cool stuff in their culture, in their societies. They were very family-based. But what I want to talk about is, I guess you'd call it paganism. I mean, they believed in, many gods. Odin, Thor, Freya. And there's a lot more than that too. One of these days, I've talked about doing a video more in depth on that, but that's not this one. This one is more comparing today's religions and specifically Christianity, just because I feel like I'm not an expert on Christianity, but I was raised in what I believe is a Christian church, the Mormon church. If some of you don't think so, that's cool. But Jesus Christ is the center of that church, so I don't know how that's not a Christian church. Regardless, we don't need to nitpick that. At least I'm not going to. So I'm coming from a place of Christianity compared to the old religions. And it's not just the Vikings. I mean, you have the Norse mythology. I mean, we call it mythology, but 1,000 years from now, are people going to look at the religions of the world now and say, wow, can you believe they believed in that? I won't go into the story because I've told the story in a previous video about how I almost got in a big fight with some guys in Northern California, actually not too far from where I am now, because I had my Mjolnir, Thor's hammer necklace on. I don't wear it when I'm working because I don't want paint on it. And they had them on. Anyway, it led to a discussion. One guy was cool. The other guy was hardcore into Odinism. And if you are, that's cool. I don't judge you, as long as this guy, well, he was just a racist and a bigot. And I was offended by him taking my heritage, my history, my culture, and turning it into something ugly like that. And I realize there's lots of cultures that have had, I'm not, just a sidebar, I'm not into this cultural appropriation crap as far as I'm concerned. People have been appropriating other people's cultures through the history of the world. And for the most part, I think it's a cool thing. It's like, hey, I really dig this from your culture. So, but when they take it and they bastardize it, that's not a word, is it? Some form of that word. They taint it and make it something that I don't believe it was. That's when I get offended. I have no problem with, somebody calling me, hey, Norwegian. I have a really good friend his heritage is Mexican. His parents are both from Mexico. And he's definitely Mexican. He looks like a Mexican dude, and he calls himself the Mexican. He wants everybody to call him that. And if you're watching this, dude, peace. I love the guy. He's a fantastic dude. But, you know, depending on the setting you're in, you got to be careful, because if I yell that out across a bar, there are people that are going to think I'm some sort of racist or something. I'm like, no. He calls me the Norwegian, the Viking, whatever. Anyway. So I don't like how things have just gotten so nitpicky with certain people in society today. I'm not that. Please know that I'm not like that. I'm not some bigot. And of course, you get to judge for yourself what you think of me. That's cool. So, yeah, the Viking history, the culture, there was a lot of cool stuff. But, you know, they believed in all these gods. This specific guy literally believed that Thor, god of thunder, was up in the clouds banging his hammer, Mjolnir, in the clouds to cause thunder and lightning. I shouldn't laugh, because I think he sincerely believed that, and I don't want to mock anybody's beliefs. I come from it. When I wear Thor's hammer and I have a couple tattoos, I come from it from a place of my culture, my heritage, my history. Norway has a long, long history. My dad has done genealogy going back 1,000 years, literally. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. He's hardcore into it. He's Mormon. The Mormon Church has one of the great genealogy libraries in the world in Salt Lake City. He's used that many times. He's also corresponded with people back and forth in Norway. When he goes to Norway, he goes to old churches, finds records. You know, there are things that have been lost in fires, but there are certain lines that go way back 1,000 years, and all our history is Norway. And so I find it really fascinating. And like I said, I don't want to belittle what somebody else believes. And I honestly wonder, you know, 1,000 years from now, 3,000 years from now, 10,000 years from now, you know, the Egyptians had all kinds of gods that they believed strongly in. Excuse me. And will people look back on, you know, Christianity and the other major religions in the world today and think, can you believe they believed that stuff? I guess the point of it is to kind of give grace to other people and their beliefs, with the caveat that I always throw in, as long as you're not hurting anybody. If you're hurting people, that's not a good thing. It's just not. And I don't think there's any religion that deserves to hurt other people because they don't believe what they believe. Or, you know, I have this discussion with my dad quite often that because he believes 100% in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormon Church. He believes it to his core. And we have the discussions, a lot of them. And I'm like, you know, Dad, there are people that believe every bit as much in their religion as you do in yours. It doesn't mean theirs is right or yours is right. It might be. I can't say, and I'm not going to try to say. I just, the whole belief, faith thing is, it fascinates me. I'm sure the Vikings believed fully, a lot of them anyway, in their gods of the time. And when Christianity came to Norway, around it was late 800s, somewhere around there, in the late 9th, early 10th century. Christianity came to Norway and Scandinavia, and I believe it was Harald Fairhair. That now I need to go back and bone up on my history here, because I think I've got the right king. United them into Christianity. Now, a lot of the Norse people fought against that for a long time. They were very entrenched in their beliefs and their gods. And just imagine if somebody came to, I would say the United States is basically a Christian country. You can argue with that if you want, but the founding fathers were all Christians, pretty staunch. And that's kind of, our whole society is based kind of on Judeo-Christian principles. And I know there are other religions. I'm not putting down other religions. I'm just saying that was the basis. And if somebody came, say, 200 years ago, and when the country was fairly new, and tried to force some new religion on them, you can imagine there'd be a lot of people fighting back against that. And that has happened through all time. The Crusades going way back. There's just so much history of people trying to convert other people to their way of believing. I did it. I went on a Mormon mission. I knocked on doors and I tried to convert people to my religion. I've said it before, I feel like mostly that was a waste of time. And I don't mean that the whole mission was a waste of time. I learned some really cool things being out there, but there are people that are looking for something else. My dad was looking for something else. He could tell you the story. I'm not going to tell his story for him, but he was looking for something. He felt like he wasn't getting what he wanted out of life and his belief system. And he believes the Mormon church came into his life. The missionaries showed up, the whole 9 yards, because he was looking for the truth. And I just, going back to the Vikings, I try to picture, if you've ever watched the series Vikings, which I watched the first 3 seasons. The first 2 seasons I thought were great. Season 3, they just got progressively worse to me. Got way too artsy. Rollo turned into, I don't know what he turned into. I mean, he basically became French. And that's a historical truth there. A lot of those characters are real people from history. Now, were Ragnar and Rollo brothers in real life? It's foggy. Some of you that are schooled in Viking history might say, yeah, they absolutely were. No, they absolutely weren't. And I've heard both sides and I've read both sides. I don't think it's conclusive. But yeah, that series, I think, is fairly historically accurate with a lot of storylines thrown in because it's a TV series. You've got to make it interesting. But it shows Christianity coming to Norway, to Scandinavia, and a lot of people fought back against it. And I would too, if I was that person back then, believing what I believe. I mean, I would consider myself a Christian. If somebody came and by force tried to tell me you got to believe in X religion now, I would fight that hardcore. It's hard to change somebody's belief system, especially if they have a strong belief. Now, I don't have any strong belief in any religion, but I do have fairly strong convictions on what I believe as far as God, the afterlife. I mean, for me, it's all belief and faith because I don't know. I know there's people that say, I know for a fact. My dad says it. I know for sure. Okay. I can't speak for anybody else. I can only speak for myself. But yeah, I just find it fascinating, the whole history of the gods. If you've ever seen the movie Stargate with James Spader and Kurt Russell, it's got to be 30 years old now. I'm guessing mid-90s maybe. That's based kind of on the Egyptian culture from, 2,000-3,000 years ago, and the god Ra. And, speaking of having tons of gods, they had a god for everything. I mean, the Vikings, the Norse mythology, there's a lot of gods too. There's a lot of minor gods that you just don't hear much about. You hear about Odin, you hear about Thor, You know, the Marvel movies have made Loki a thing. And in Greek mythology, you got Zeus and Athena, and that might actually be an interesting video to do sometime. So anyway, the kind of the point of the video that I'm doing right now is I think we need to give each other some grace and in what other people believe. I've seen it here on my videos in the comments. People come in and conclusively say, for instance, there is no God, or you believe in fairy tales, or whatever. I mean, you get to believe that. I think it's weird, though, when people comment on somebody else's belief and tell them they're wrong. I mean, that's not my style. I try to be tolerant. It's not the right word, because that sounds like I'm literally tolerating. I try to be graceful to other people's beliefs, again, as long as they're not hurting anybody. So let me know what you think. If I've asked this before, and I have had people say it'd be interesting to delve deeper into Viking stuff. You know, I'm not going to get off on that side. Anyway, I'm going to keep this a little bit shorter. Let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching. It is Wednesday, June 18th, I think. I got just over a week. Next Friday, I'm heading to see my son in Nevada, and then the next weekend is 4th of July, and we're going camping up in the Utah mountains. So I'm so excited for that. We go on some really cool rides. 530 crew. This is one of my designs, by the way. So like it says, love life, be nice to people. If you want to, leave me negative, nasty comments, that's up to you. I'll read them. But if they're nasty, I won't probably respond to them. If you disagree with me on stuff, and lots of you have done that, and that's cool. I got no problem with that. If it's respectful, I'll listen and I'll respond. So have a great night, and time to unwind a little bit. Another work day tomorrow. So I will talk to you all soon. Tack för denna gång. Men snackas igen snart. Have a great one, everybody. Peace. Love.